So this is Chester the Uromastyx. Uro meaning tail and mastix meaning like a whip or a scourge. They come from kind of the Horn of Africa on the east coast, eastern edge of the continent, around Somalia and so on, and also the Persian, what's it called? Persia. Basically, when my brother was living in the city in Vancouver, working as a cook, at one point he was sharing a place with a bunch of other people, including a husband and wife, who bought this animal, this creature, and called him Spike. One sec. And eventually, my brother became more of the custodian, I guess. Probably fed Chester better food and took care of him and so on. And eventually, Chester basically became Steven's, my brother. And last spring, 2017. Oh shit! No, Chester. No, we can't go there. Sorry. Last spring, Chester had been staying, well, up until last spring, Chester had been staying with Steven's former girlfriend in Vancouver, but Steven decided to bring Chester out here with all his stuff. He basically lives in maybe a 2x2 glass box with a sand bed and a little cave, a heating pad, and an infrared light. And yeah, so since Chester's been here, I've been basically the one taking care of him more, and he's got a very nice disposition, and he's cold-blooded, so he really likes to have heat. Right now he's been in the sun for half an hour, so he's pretty warmed up and active. What else? Yeah, he's just a really cool little guy. I don't know how old he is. Maybe he seems pretty wise though. The problem in the winter is that at least not last winter, I tend not to bring him out as much as I could have. So if you leave him in his box for like 6 straight weeks, he eventually goes a little crazy, and I think actually he starts to feel like you don't love him anymore, and he'll like flee from you when you try to deal with him, which is really sad. So once I noticed that, I started realizing I gotta take him out more regularly. Yeah, he's got he's very healthy. My brother and me feed him very well. And when you Google Uromastyx, the photos you see are kind of basically of dumb beasts. Like Chester's got real character compared to those guys. He's very handsome, aren't you? And he doesn't really make any noise, except the first time I ever brought him out here in our backyard, which I'll just show you. After he'd had about 45 minutes walking around, have a good time, he came straight up to me, and he like made a little squeak, like I want to go back home in my box. I've had enough. That's the only time he's ever used his voice, but he does have one. And sometimes when the atmosphere changes, like you bring him out of his box and into the rest of the house, or you put him where there's a draft where he can get some fresh air, he'll start making like little tiny whooping noises, which are really cute. As sort of maybe yikes, hornet. Something changes in his respiratory system, but it's cute. It's not nothing to worry about. Hey, you can hear it a little bit right now. Not sure if that's going to be picked up by the mic. Yeah, and my family have a lot of fear about him being out here because they're afraid like something's going to take him. And I'm not quite as worried as they are, because there are hawks and there's eagles here, but they have preferred prey. Eagles basically go for salmon, unless it's like there's like a cold snap in winter, and they might go and take a duck or a rabbit then. But I don't think they'd like to look at Chester. And hawks are super rare. I see maybe 1 or 2 or 3 a year, typically. They don't usually come up here on the crest of the peninsula. More down in the fields and the floodplains. And crows, yeah, crows have shown a little bit of interest in Chester, but not a lot. And I think, frankly, Chester has moral authority. I think any creature who's looked at him as meat, once they got to know him a little bit, they'd be like, oh no, I can't eat him. He's beautiful, he's amazing. That's not what I'm about. I'm not that hungry. But of course, I'd rather, you can't be making too many assumptions on that point, so I watch them closely. I watch the skies, and if there's crows around, I'll watch them. What else? Oh yeah, my brother's current girlfriend, Rachel, she has a dog called Harley, and I tried to introduce Harley and Chester so that we can establish that Harley's not gonna just grab him and chew him up. And a few weeks ago, they were on the deck together, by the house. And what was happening is something that can happen often. Catherine, my younger sister, was like so afraid that Harley was going to do something that she got super anxious and started raising her voice and freaking out. And that in itself started to make Harley anxious and freaked out and more likely to do something rash. So that really goes to show that, the only thing to fear is fear itself. Fear is the mind killer. It kind of creates the bad things, which it's trying to protect you from. Yeah, anyway, and that's enough of that lecturing. Yeah, that video is probably long enough, so I'll sign off here. 7.5 minutes. Chester, the Uromastyx. Age, I don't know. I'm going to guess 7 or 8. I don't know. I think they can live to be maybe 15, 20. But the way we take care of him, I wouldn't be surprised if it's... Like, he's super healthy now. Yeah. That's the main thing I try to fight with him is boredom. I don't want him to get too bored, because then you get, you kind of, when you don't like life, your body will fall apart, I think, from the inside out. At least when it's chronic and unremitting. Anyway, on that bright, happy note, I think I will sign off.